Welcome to the deep dive. So often in business, especially, for companies maybe in places like India, we hear this constant tension.
hmm
How do you chase profitability? How do you make money without, well, sacrificing sustainability? It nearly always feels like going green is just an added cost.
It really does. It's a very common assumption, isn't it, that environmental responsibility is somehow just a drain on the bottom line.
Right. A luxury almost.
Exactly. But what's really interesting in the sources we've looked at for this deep dive is ISO 14001. It's this global standard for environmental management systems, and it flips that script completely.
Clicks the script. How so?
Well, the core idea we found is that environmental improvement done systematically can actually lead directly to pretty significant cost savings, tangible ones.
Okay, so that's the core idea we're really digging into today. How this standard, ISO 14001, it offers a kind of shortcut to understanding that double benefit.
The dual promise, yeah.
Yeah, the dual promise for both the finances and the environment, turning sustainability into, well, a real competitive advantage.
Yeah.
So our mission for you listening is to see how this works. We've sifted through the sources to pull out the key insights.
Right. Showing that win-win scenario in practice.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack it. What is ISO 14000? At its heart, it's an environmental management system, an EMS. But it's not just about, ticking boxes for being green.
It's more structured than that.
Much more. It's built on that well-known Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, PDCA. It forces continuous improvement.
Ah, okay. Plan, Do, Check, Act.
Yeah, so it's a systematic way to find, manage, and keep improving your environmental performance. And that process itself, that structured approach, is what naturally uncovers cost savings. It's about smarter resource use.
So that phrase going green saves money. It still sounds a bit counterintuitive to some people. How does ISO 14001 actually make that happen? Where do the savings really come from?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Or maybe the million-rupee question here.
Yeah.
There are several core mechanisms built into the standard. First off, energy efficiency.
Okay.
The standard makes you identify what it calls your significant environmental aspects, basically where you have the biggest impact. And energy use is often right at the top.
So it forces you to look closely at power consumption.
Exactly. It pushes for optimization that goes way beyond just switching off the lights. And for, say, Indian manufacturing units, the sources pointed out that even a 5 or 10% cut in power use, that adds up to substantial annual savings.
It's amazing how small percentages add up like that. What's the main hurdle usually for companies finding those energy waste spots initially?
Often it's just not having the right data, or maybe not seeing how different processes connect. ISO 14001 makes you collect and analyze that data. It makes the invisible visible.
Okay, makes sense. So beyond energy, what else?
Waste reduction, that's another big one. The system pushes for better process control, which naturally means less waste being generated in the first place.
Less waste means lower disposal costs, obviously.
Right, significant cuts there. But here's where it gets even more interesting. In many cases, companies find ways to turn what was waste into something recyclable or reusable.
Ah, so it's not just cost cutting, it's potential revenue creation.
Exactly. That's the really clever part. Less going out, maybe more value coming back in.
Brilliant.
And then there's water, especially critical in certain areas, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Water scarcity is a massive issue in India, for sure.
Right.
How does this standard tackle that?
Yeah, water conservation is key. The sources mention places like Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, water-stressed regions. Here, using less water, treating wastewater better, it directly cuts operational costs.
Makes sense.
Plus, it helps businesses meet local rules and expectations. Which brings us to another cost saver.
Let me guess, avoiding fines.
You got it. Lower regulatory penalties. Because ISO 14001 is all about proactive compliance.
Right, so it's about getting ahead of potential problems, not just reacting when you get a violation notice.
Precisely. It builds a system to keep you compliant, keep you out of trouble, and save you money all at the same time. It's preventative.
Okay, so clearly, good for the finances, good for compliance.
Yeah.
But let's broaden the view. What about the ripple effects, beyond the balance sheet? How does implementing this affect, say, the employees?
That's a really important aspect. When staff get involved in these initiatives and the standard requires training and awareness, it often boosts efficiency just through their engagement.
Because they understand the why.
Exactly. And it boosts environmental awareness generally, which, interestingly, can lead to innovative ideas coming from the workforce. They start seeing ways to save resources.
So you actually tap into that internal knowledge base, people on the ground suggesting improvements.
Often, yes. Once that framework and awareness are there, The people doing the job are often best placed to spot those small inefficiencies that add up. It's quite powerful.
That's a great side benefit.
And looking even wider, society as a whole.
How does that play out?
Well, more efficient companies mean less strain on public utilities, less demand on resources.
Hmm.
Cleaner communities, too, because of better waste and pollution control. And it directly helps with bigger goals, like India's climate change targets.
So businesses become better neighbors, essentially.
In a way, yes. Responsible corporate citizens. And there are other business upsides, too, beyond just the direct savings or the societal good.
Like what?
Brand reputation, that's huge today. Certification signals commitment.
Especially with consumers being more eco-conscious now.
Absolutely. It helps you reach those customers. And crucially, it often helps businesses qualify for tenders, big contracts where environmental standards are a requirement.
So it can open doors to new business, too.
Yeah.
Is that mainly for certain types of customers, or is it becoming more general?
It's becoming more general, but definitely pronounced with, say, younger consumers. And in B2B supply chains where sustainability is increasingly screened, it can be a real differentiator when bidding for work.
Okay, this all sounds great in principle, but you mentioned sources. Was there a specific example that really showed this in action?
There was, yeah. A really good case study mentioned involved an auto parts manufacturer based in Hyderabad.
Okay, auto parts in Hyderabad. What were their issues before ISO 14001?
Pretty typical stuff, actually. The sources said they were spending something like 18 lakh a year just on waste disposal.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Plus, high electricity bills from older machines and pretty inefficient water use during production. Classic manufacturing pain points.
Right, familiar story for many. So what happened after they got certified? What did the transformation look like?
The results were pretty striking. After getting ISO 14001 certified, this company cut its waste costs by 28%.
28%, that's huge on 18 lakh.
Isn't it? Just wiped out over a quarter of that cost. And energy. They saved 12 lakh a year on electricity.
12 lakh, also very significant.
And remember, Hyderabad, water stress. They used 20% less water for every production cycle.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a really concrete example of those substantial savings we were talking about. A structured approach leading to measurable results.
That really brings it home. But I bet a lot of listeners are thinking, okay, great for a decent-sized factory, but what about small businesses?
Yeah.
Can they really see savings like this? Or is the certification process itself too much overhead?
That's a fair question and a really common one. The sources were quite clear on this.
Yes, absolutely. Small businesses often see proportionally higher savings.
Higher. Why is that?
Well, think about it. Their operations are often more adaptable. They can potentially make changes faster, maybe fewer layers of management to go through, so they can pivot and see those benefits quicker sometimes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And how fast do companies usually see these savings kick in? Is it a long wait for the ROI?
Generally, no. Many companies start noticing savings within the first year of putting the system in place.
First year. That's pretty quick.
It really is. It highlights how practical the framework can be, focusing on those immediate efficiency gains. Okay, last common concern.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah.
Does getting ISO 14001 mean you have to buy lots of expensive new green tech?
Ah, the tech question. Not necessarily. That's a big misconception we need to bust.
Good.
While new tech can help, of course, a lot of the magic, the real core of ISO 14001 savings, often comes from just optimizing the processes you already have.
And training staff.
And training staff, exactly. Empowering people. It's often about finding those simple tweaks, those behavioral shifts that unlock big efficiencies without needing a massive capital investment. Working smarter, not just spending more.
All right. Smarter, not just richer.
Precisely.
So wrapping this up for you, the listener,
Yeah.
if we boil it all down, it seems pretty clear that ISO 14001 certification, it's not just some environmental badge, it's actually a really smart business strategy.
It really is. It creates that win-win we talked about. Good for the company, good for the employees, good for the community, good for the planet. It cuts costs while protecting the environment.
A genuine win-win.
It reframes the whole discussion, doesn't it? Sustainability moves from being seen as a burden to being a source of competitive advantage.
It really does. So here's a final thought, something for you to maybe chew on after this.
Mm-hmm.
What opportunities might you be overlooking? Maybe in your own work, your projects, maybe even just in your daily life. Where could applying these same ideas, efficiency, reducing waste, create a similar kind of win-win? Delivering a benefit for you personally, but also having a positive little impact on your own immediate environment.
That's a great question to ponder. Where are those hidden efficiencies in our own lives?
Something to think about.